Hey everybody, welcome to another Road to 1000 Dueling book rating. So today we are playing against Trap BA. I think this deck actually is really cool and he played it really well. Yeah, I'm playing Traptrix. And so this double or nothing has been glued to my hand for the last like 4 games I've been testing with this. And of course in the one that I try to record, it's glued in my hand. Anyways, we're going to start up with this. I think this deck has a decent shot. I think that Time Space Trap Hole is actually a really good card. Bottomless Trap Hole is kind of decent. I haven't really had too much success with it yet, if I'm being honest. Like, people can play around it. And I think that the Time Space Trap Hole is kind of like a big hit to a lot of people's decks. So I think that in the future, I'm going to be maxing out on this Time Space Trap Hole. Right now, I'm maxing out on Bottomless, but it's just something that I definitely want to try out for right now. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with it. So we go ahead and we start the duel. We win the die roll and we decide to go first. So I decide with a normal summon of Mermelio, and I decide to go ahead and use the effect to search for a bottomless trap hole. Then I just decide to go ahead and set 3 back row, and then I link off my Mermelio into a copy of Sarah, and I pass my turn. On his turn, he draws the Farfa for turn, and he starts out with a Rhino, which is a pretty good play. Goes into the battle phase and decides just to hit over the Sarah. So I figure here he's playing BA. And so what I decide to do is I didn't realize he's playing Trap BA because that's the most like uncommon variant ever of BA. So I decide to actually I realize my Duster is going to be useless as well as he's playing around my Bottomless very well. So I decide just to go ahead and Bottomless my own, Duster my own Bottomless to trigger my Sarah. So my Sarah is going to go ahead and special a Dino from the deck, and the Dino is going to go ahead and set the Bottomless here. And I forget to banish this. It doesn't really change the outcome of the duel because I never actually activate this Bottomless for the rest of the duel. So it's just kind of left on the field. It should get banished during the next end phase. I just forget for some reason. Then Sarah's going to go ahead and trigger and set Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. And he can redeclare, so he's just going to attack the Sarah again. I'm going to take 600 damage, and my Sarah gets destroyed. He goes ahead and uses Scarm to special summon, which I say is okay. And then he goes into a Dante. Now, I should have just hit this with Time Space Trap Hole. I was just being dumb, and I didn't. So that was my mistake. I should have just Time Spaced this, but I just wasn't thinking. I thought like, oh, I can't Bottomless or Traptrix because I set him this turn. And it was a really dumb play. I should have Time Spaced this, and I think the outcome of the duel would have been at least a little bit different, because he's going to discard the Rhino to send 3. These don't do anything since he already has a Scarm. He already used the Scarm effect, so he's going to attempt to use the Fiendish Rhino, which I'm going to Ash. So, yeah, he would have been left with a Karma Cut with a Lost Wind, which is fine. But, yeah, he passes his turn to me, so I draw Desires for turn. And I go ahead and he just decides to Karma Cut my Dionia, which is probably a good play because it's going to play around Sarah, because Sarah is unaffected by traps. So that's what happens there. His what's it called? Jack is going to trigger, and he's going to get Graph Seer and Karma Cut. So he decides just to put the Karma Cut on top, obviously, so he can banish with Jack to go ahead and get the Sarah, you know the play. Anyways, Desires is going to banish the top 10 cards of my deck, and I believe I don't hit anything good, like nothing's like too impactful, so it's fine. My Dionia, I draw a Dionia, so I just decide to normal summon that and target the Mermelio. He wants to chain, he's thinking if he could chain the Lost One, but he can't because my Dionia is not a special summon monster, but he was being really confusing in chat. I don't exactly know what he was saying, but I goes ahead and Mermelio target the Lost One, and he just chains the Lost One to negate the Mermelio. Then he uses Jack to set the Karma Cut to the field, and I overlay for a Redoer. So he should have used the Lost One to set itself back, and but I don't think it's gonna matter because he draws for turn, he draws a Seer, and then I attach the Graph off of Redoer, and yeah, kind of feels bad, but you know, it happens. His mills off of Dante are pretty bad, and then he decides to go ahead and attempt to attack, which I use the Redoer. Because yeah. And then he uses Graph, which I chain the Ash, so I just wasted. My Redoer pretty much just screwed me over, but it's fine. Then he goes ahead and puts the Dante in defense and hits me for 25, obviously. Passes it to me. And I should get the redoer back. And also, I misclick here. I'll tell you in a sec. But I should get the redoer back in the end phase. I missed it, but we fix it here in a second. So I set the double or nothing and the scythe. I accidentally set the scythe, which I shouldn't have done. And also this Bottomless should be banished. So, yeah. Misplay on my part, but it's not going to matter because... yeah. So I accidentally hit the ST on scythe, so he sees that I have a scythe, so he's not going to be playing into my back row, which was really bad on my part. The redoer does come back. He reminds me, and I say thanks, and then I attach, and I attach a blackjack, which is really bad. So on his turn, I attach the Dynamis just to it, which is okay, because now I can I can still play around this Karma Cut, but it's a little bit awkward. He goes ahead and puts Beatrice on, which on the summon, I go ahead and he activates Farfetch targeting Redoer. So I just decide, okay, I can Redoer, chain, detach both, and then target the Beatrice and put it back. So that's what I do here. And then the Redoer gets banished till the end phase due to its own effect. Then he uses Jack's effect to get the top 3. So he does a Imperial Order, Traptrix, as well as a Tour Guide. And then he goes ahead and uses the Dante to bring back the graph. And he normals the graph and then hits me for 1,000, which is fine. And then the end phase Redoer is going to come back, which he uses Karma Cut to banish it. Then Seer's going to trigger and he can special summon the Dante. And so now he has Seer Loop, so it's going to be really rough for me to continue this. I draw Brigadine for turn, and I can't do anything because I thought I couldn't set this. Obviously, the Bottomless should have been banished. But yeah. Then he goes ahead and normal summons Farfa, and then goes ahead and hits me for 3,000 total points of damage. Pretty rough. And then he goes ahead and links off into a IP Masquerena, and he misses some of his like effects. I decided to like try and think if I want to use something, but I in the end decide not to. And yeah, so then he specials the Alec. He's supposed to get the Seer to hand, so I fix it here in a sec. I put it in his hand for him, and he has a Traptrix set, which I don't know about. In the drop phase, he uses the Traptrix to go ahead and set, I believe, a Dynamistus. So he banishes one. Oh, he set a Fiend Griefing, actually. And then I can't do anything, so I just decide to scoop it up. Moving back, I decide for him to go first, since I lost. And I draw a Nibiru, which doesn't do a whole lot, but I need to decide something, or I need to like have something in my deck, because like impermanences don't really do anything. And I just wanted something that like if I used it, I won. And so if I happen to trigger the Nibiru, I win, right? But he ashes my desires, which is fine. I use the Mantis to go ahead and search for a Dinonia, and then he uses the Traptrix here. So obviously I didn't know that he has access, or wait, he doesn't have it at the moment. Okay, so then he uses the Dynamis just to banish my Mantis, which is fine. And he forgets to use his Dynamis just effect to summon here in a second, but we'll do that here. Anyways, I get a little confused about his banished cards. He forgets to banish the Dynamistus, but we fix the game state here. And then I decide to go ahead and set 3 and pass my turn. And in the end phase, he Storm Dusters me. And he hits my Judgment as well as my Shade Brigadine, which is fine. He could have chained his Dynamistus here to get an extra 1,200 points of damage, which he probably should have done, but he just didn't. Tour Guide's going to come down, and he's going to special Graph from deck. And then he's going to go ahead and link off into a Cherubini, and Graph's going to go ahead and special Seer from the deck. Then Cherubini's going to go ahead and target itself and get him a Libic, sorry. And then he's going to use the Libic to special the Farfa from his hand. And then he's going to go ahead and... actually, I decided here to go ahead and use the Nibiru in my hand. And I just go ahead and tribute the whole board. And for some reason, he doesn't use the Seer effect. Yeah, he doesn't use the Seer effect for some reason. Oh no, he does use a Seer effect. I don't think he uses the Farfa. Yeah, he should have used the Farfa here. So I don't know why, but he just doesn't. Because he could have hit me for at least 500 damage, but I mean, it's not going to matter. Because like 500 damage is whatever. He passes it back to me. So I know this set is a Fiend Griefing because he set it off of the Blackjack. So I can play around this because I have no cards in my grave. So I don't want to get Farfud. So what I need to do is I need to, if I make a Sarah, I'm going to have a monster in the graveyard because I'm going to link one of my Traptrix monsters into it. So what I decide to do ultimately is I decide to go ahead and use my Shady Brigadine and normal summon Myrmelio. And then use my Myrmelio to search for a time space trap hole. So I have a big follow-up for the next turn if I happen to still lose for whatever reason. Then I can go ahead and Redoer, and then I can use Redoer to target the token to put it to the top of the deck. It'll just leave the field. And then I can use the Redoer to attack over Cherubini and Nibiru to attack directly for 3,000. So at this point, that is quite a bit of damage. He goes down to 3,100, and if he doesn't have any follow-up, I can just use my Redoer as well as my Nibiru to attack for game. So I go ahead and I set Time Space Trap Hole, and then I use... He draws evenly for a turn, which doesn't do anything, and so he just decides to scoop it up there. And he said, I can't believe you side Nibiru versus a 20 tarp deck. And he put like a frowny face. I thought that was kind of funny. Like, I didn't respond to it because, like, I don't know. I have the Nibiru, but, like, it doesn't do anything in my case, I don't think. So, yeah. Anyways, he's going to go ahead and set 2 back row, playing around the evenly, of course. So he has Karma Cut as well as Fiend Griefing. So I go ahead and ask for standby phase. He says it's fine. I go Lightning Storm ST, and he destroys both of his back row. And at this point, he only has a Skarm, so I could just normal Genlicia, and he just decides to scoop because I don't know why. It's just like Lost One doesn't really do anything. His Skarm could crash, like theoretically, into my Sarah, but like I can still trigger my Sarah off of Traptrix, so it's like his hand's pretty bad. I mean, I guess it just depends on what his next draw was. If he happens to draw something at least decent, he can play, but he just decides to scoop. So, yeah, me hitting his Karma Cut and his Fiend Griefing was like, wow, I don't want to play. But, yeah, a bit of a shorter episode this time. I hope you guys enjoy. And if you do like me playing Traptrix, I'm trying to learn the deck, and this is... I've only been playing this deck for less than 24 hours, so I'm not exactly too familiar with all of the plays of what I can do. If you guys have any sort of deck profiles that are about this, then go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. I'll take a look at them. I'm very new to it, so I want to get all of the information that I can on this deck. So with all of that said, I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.